dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, it's 5 o'clock. I'm Will Puckett.
And I'm Cassidy Strickland. Hope your week got off to a great start yesterday. It certainly got off to a chilly start, and I know this morning, Tuesday, if you were wondering, isn't too much better.
Yeah, it's not too much better, but the day, to my understanding, is supposed to be better than yesterday as far as temps go, so that's nice. But if you're getting ready to head out this morning, you're going to want to give yourself a little extra time to warm up your cars. There's just a little layer of frost on it, so word to the wise, get ready to go this morning and heat up your car first. But let's check in with Brandon, who'll give you a better breakdown of what to expect throughout the day today. And Brandon, are we going to get over that 20-degree mark or 30-degree mark today?
Actually, tell you what, I'll give you some 40s. How about that? Yeah, exactly. Heat wave coming through, and it's actually about 10 to 20 degrees warmer this morning in some spots, if you can believe that. Let's take a look on the camera network first, kind of show you some current conditions outside the WYMT studios here in Hazard. Not too much going on. Pretty quiet start to the morning, just like yesterday over Whitesburg at the MCHC camera. Not a whole lot to talk about there either. Temperatures 27 in Wise. They were right there kind of close to the below zero category yesterday. 18 Pikeville, 16 Jackson, Hazard, Prestonsburg, 19 in London, 21 in Somerset and Williamsburg this morning, and 18 down toward Jacksboro. When you factor in the wind chill, still feels like rather single digits in some areas, so be aware of that as you head out. Not as cold, but still cold. 12 degrees in Charleston, 15 in Cincinnati, 19 in Lexington, 25 out toward Nashville. And you see some warmer air will start to move in from the south today. Live pinpoint Doppler radar, nice and clean sweeps heading out the door this morning. Still max warming needed on the coffee meter though, because we are still below 32, and that's usually when I do that category there. Out the door forecast, we are going to see much warmer air coming into place later today. Mid to upper 40s, can't beat that. And we're going to continue to watch a system that's going to affect us starting tomorrow. And for Will Puckett, he's looking forward to the forecast because it involves that four-letter S word he loves so much. I'll have the rest of those details coming up here in just a few minutes.
All righty, Brandon, I'll be sure to pay attention. Appreciate it. While we had bitter cold temperatures throughout the day yesterday, we weren't the only ones who had to bundle up. The winter storm that swept across the country left the cold temperatures in its wake. It has already proven to be deadly, as at least 7 deaths are being blamed on the freezing temps. The coldest temps were measured by the Mount Washington Observatory in New Hampshire. It was 31 below zero yesterday afternoon, which felt like 80 below when factoring in the high winds.
Well, in Illinois, a 12-year-old girl is dead after a snowbank collapse. Police say the child was playing with a 9-year-old friend in the snowbank outside of a church Sunday. The children built a fort, which later collapsed on top of them. The girls' families were inside the church attending service at the time. Both girls were taken to the hospital, where the 12-year-old was pronounced dead. At last check, the 9-year-old was being treated for hypothermia.
Heating and plumbing businesses are staying busy with hundreds of calls a day because of the cold. To make sure your heat is running smoothly and efficiently during cold temperatures, some say the best thing homeowners can do is change out their air filters to keep them clean. Along with keeping your heat running smoothly, it's also very important to know how to keep your pipes from freezing or bursting during these frigid temps.
Make sure that your hoses and your outside spigots are disconnected so that you don't have any freezing and bursting of those areas.
You should also make sure your crawl space is sealed up well to keep the cold out. You can also open your doors under your sinks and let your water drip if you do have an issue. Well, with temperatures well below freezing in eastern Kentucky yesterday was a good day to bundle up and stay warm. But that is not always easy for those who don't have a home.
And that is why volunteers at one local homeless shelter worked double duty to give those in need a safe and warm place to stay. WYMT's Connor James has more.
In Clay County, for years, if you had no home, you needed to look somewhere else for shelter.
We don't have any place that those who don't have a regular place to stay can come get out of the cold.
But that changed in December when Warm Souls for Worn Souls opened up. A shelter running completely on donations.
To help those who need help in any way we can help them, and anything that we can do for them to help them change their circumstances.
Usually the shelter stays open from 6 at night until 8 in the morning, but not Monday.
We had a concern for the overnight guests that we have here.
Volunteers worked extra hours to keep the shelter open throughout the day. That way, those in need wouldn't have to brave the elements. 8
overnight guests last night. 3 have remained here most of the day.
Each of those people grateful for a warm bed and good company. And Karen Lawson says they couldn't run if it wasn't for help from the community.
Come in clean, bring in supplies, bring in bedding, help do the laundry, everything that it takes to keep this place operational.
And volunteers say they'll work hard to make sure people in the county always have a roof over their heads.
We have the full hours for the shelter on our website, WYMT.com. Now, if you would like to help out, they do have a fundraiser coming up. They will host a pulled pork benefit where all the proceeds will go to the shelter. You can find information for that on our website as well.
Well, the cold temperatures are not just affecting people, but animals as well. Some of the animals at the big Hampton Zoo in New York have the option to be inside or outside at their own discretion. Yesterday, the zoo's American red wolves, eagles, Arctic fox, and snow owl all had some fun in the snow. Most of the cats, like the zoo's snow leopard, also don't mind the cold. However, the zoo likes to monitor their time outside when temperatures drop.
Any of our animals that are native to the area, like our red wolves, we will make sure they have extra hay, but they are fine out in the weather. Our goats are pretty hardy animals too. They actually all do have heat in their shelters during the wintertime. But when it is this cold, we do actually keep a lot of them inside during the day.
All of the buildings have thermometers, and the exhibits are kept at the appropriate temperatures for the animals.
In other news this morning, deputies in Laurel County continue to look into the death of a 72-year-old woman. Her body was found outside of her home Sunday. Deputies say a driver passing by spotted Glenda Smith in her driveway. The only injury Smith had was a cut on her head. Police tell us they do not know how long Smith was outside before her body was found.
This investigation just started yesterday, and it is an unusual investigation, you know, with a cut on her head and the weather, and there's a lot of things that we have to consider.
Neighbors tell us Smith lived alone, but they would often check on her from time to time. The Laurel County coroner has yet to release results from an autopsy.
Now, also in Laurel County, deputies continue to look for whoever is responsible for shooting a BB gun at homes and cars. We first told you about this story yesterday. Homes and cars on streets in the London, Corbin, and Keavy areas were hit 2 nights in a row. Deputies do not know who they are looking for. That's why they need your help. They are asking those who live in Laurel County to keep an eye out for the vandals. This morning, you need to be aware of an Amber Alert for a missing Western Kentucky boy. Police are looking for 10-year-old Isaiah Boren, who you see on the left. They believe he may be with Isaac Chamberlain, who can be seen on the right. Isaiah has autism and needs his medication. He is from Trigg County. Police say he is 4'1" and was last seen wearing a blue and white tie-dye shirt with a yellow jacket. We don't know the connection between the pair. Chamberlain may be driving a 2004 blue Chevrolet Venture with Kentucky license plate 522 RRJ. If you have any information that may help, please call your local police.
Meanwhile, police still need your help finding this man. Philip Lee Lewis III is accused of shooting and killing Gary Medlin while trying to rob a Knox County store last week. This is video just before he fired that fatal shot. Police think he may have had a getaway driver. He has ties to Mississippi and Michigan. Anyone with information on where he might be should give police a call.
A family in Pulaski County lost their home to a fire. Now they have to decide what comes next. Late last week, Clayton Gibson and Sarah Johnson returned to their home on Coal Bank Road to find it in flames. Thankfully, Gibson, Johnson, and their children were all right. However, their family cat and dog were killed and their possessions were destroyed.
I kicked the front door open. I made it about 3 foot in there, and I was just overcome with the smoke and everything, and the flames, ceiling starting to fall down, and I had to turn around and get back out.
Their home was paid for, but they say they did not have insurance for it. The Red Cross put them up in a hotel room for now, but they're not sure what they're going to do next. Gibson and Johnson say they have received clothing from some people in the community. Meanwhile, in Boyle County, the cold weather caused issues for firefighters battling a house fire. The fire began at a home on White Oak Road in Junction City. The firefighters had to shuttle water in from about a mile away. They also had to deal with temperatures that were well below freezing. There is heavy damage to the home, but thankfully no one was injured.
Well, officers with the Ennis, Texas Police Department say they found a woman's body that matches the description of Kentuckian Emily Wade. Wade has been missing since January 5th. Volunteers found the body in a creek bed that was flooded the night that she went missing. The body has been transported to the Dallas County Medical Examiner's office to determine the cause of death and receive official identification.
Well, a man is in jail after he slid on ice and crashed into a Warren County home. The roads in Bowling Green were slick on Sunday due to wintry weather. Police say it appears Cody Magley's vehicle hit an icy patch and ended up in the living room of a house. However, while conditions were a factor, police say Magley was also driving under the influence. He is facing charges of DUI, wanton endangerment, and criminal mischief.
Unfortunately, there was poor judgment in this. He was under the influence, drove, and this was the end result.
There were 2 people at home during the time of the crash, but neither of them were injured.
Well, this morning we have an update on 2 boys who ran off from school last week in Knott County. A lot of you called or messaged us concerned about the boys. But yesterday we did learn that police found them in Clay County. Investigators say the boys only spent about an hour in the woods before someone picked them up. Deputies in Knott County tell us charges are pending, but could not tell us who would face those charges.
Coming up on Mountain News this morning, we will tell you about a dramatic rescue that was caught on camera.
Plus, we will tell you what is happening in Hollywood on this Tuesday in your Eye on Entertainment report.
It's another cold start to the day, but at least it's better than yesterday. We've got a lot to talk about. I'll have the full forecast in about 2.5 minutes.